During this high inflationary environment that we're in, it's so tempting to reduce retirement savings, but there's three big problems that creates. I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Inflation's a killer. I'm quoting right now. Inflation is a killer. We've all had to manage and adapt in different ways. And this has been happening, but I got a message from a friend and client that just so clearly and vividly illustrates the dichotomy, the challenge that we've all been facing. I'm assuming you can relate. Here's essentially what he said. Inflation's a killer. With grocery prices and clothing costs and kids and sports and all of that, we found that over the past year, we're over budget by about $6,000. Should I and can I reduce my 403B savings by $6,000? I mean, at the root of this question, how have you dealt with inflation? I've been telling you, we've been preaching, make sure you update your budget, make sure you're on top of this, because if you're not aware, if you haven't managed the trade-offs or quantified, all right, well, what sort of adjustment do you need to make in your financial life, then it's likely that you'll just unknowingly sort of back yourself or paint yourself into a corner. And this is like by either spending through savings or all of a sudden getting behind on paying off that credit card bill every month, and all of a sudden you've got credit card debt. And so make sure that you're on top of it. Well, this client, this individual, this friend is on top of it. And I know from serving them and working with them that they follow our 3-bank account system, that they do a monthly budget, and they have a plan for here's how much income's coming in every single month, and here's our normal monthly expenses. They also have delayed spending where they've listed out, all right, here's the known upcoming expenses that don't happen every single month. Here are the known upcoming expenses. And so therefore we're saving for those on an ongoing basis so that when those events arise, we've got the cash. And then they've got a fully funded emergency fund. Now I know that. But I also know that they tend to budget on an annualized basis, and especially with those delayed spending items, that's not something that they update frequently. They tune into it every so often, which I recommend you tune into it every 6 months or so to make sure that you're still setting aside the right amount. And so essentially, he was looking at kind of reviewing the budget for this year, and we're approaching the end of the year. So he's thinking about next year, and all right, I'm going to set out a new budget, and that delayed spending, that doesn't work. The delayed spending, that's where they save up for back to school shopping and for clothing purchases when seasons change and travel sports and those things. And so they looked at it and said, we're $6,000 short. Can we reduce our retirement savings to make up for the $6,000 shortfall? And so here's the deal. We're comprehensive financial planners. We're fiduciary. So I don't have a conflict of interest here to say, no, you have to keep saving to the 401k, or you shouldn't save into that, or whatnot. But taking a look at it, I pointed out, okay, yep, inflation, it's sort of crushing all of us and certainly squeezing most Americans, and we all have to adapt and make adjustments. And I said I would encourage you to make other financial adjustments if you can, because there's 3 major challenges with reducing your 403B contribution. The first is the obvious one, and that is it could mean you're now off track with retirement. This individual, they've been saving 15% towards retirement since the very beginning of their careers. We update their retirement plan on an ongoing basis, and they're very much on track. Now, reducing that to come up with an extra $6,000 of cash flow, that would be a significant reduction in the amount of retirement savings that they're doing. And he even asked me, well, how much would we reduce our retirement savings to? What would we reduce our retirement contribution to from 15% down to what in order to get to the $6,000? Well, this is obviously, if we update their retirement plan to show instead of saving 15%, you're going to be saving something significantly less than that. That's going to make a big impact over the next, 15 to 20 years before they retire. So obviously reducing your retirement savings to help with, managing inflation, that's going to hurt your retirement plan. The second big challenge, though, it's going to hurt your taxes as well. Now, this individual is saving up pre-tax. And so going back again to that next part of that question, what do we need to change that 15% down to what so that we have an extra $6,000? Well, I did the math for them and said, well, you've got to move it, and based on their income level, got to move it from saving 15% down to saving about 9%. That should give you an extra $6,000. Problem is, by reducing how much you contribute to your 403B, it's actually going to increase the amount of taxes that are withheld. So it's not a one-for-one exchange here. So in reality, you're going to need to reduce your 403B contributions or 401k contributions from 15% down to something closer to 6% in order to account for the extra withholdings, tax withholdings that are going to come out of your paycheck, so that you'll have an extra $6,000 total of take home over the year. Because not only does reducing the 403B or 401k savings hurt and harm your retirement, also hurts and harms your tax picture as well. And the final big challenge that using this adjustment to help manage inflation, which I get, guys, I get it, because we're all in the same situation. But the final risk, the final problem is that it builds a new habit. I mean, one of the reasons why we recommend that from your very first paycheck, saving 15% towards retirement isn't because it's 15% for every single person. No, it's because you want to start with that right habit, and that should get you on the right path. And then as you get closer to retirement, you'll have more choice and more flexibility and all of that sort of stuff. But it's about building habits. And this particular couple, they're still in their mid-40s, and therefore reducing their 403B or 401k contributions down from 15% to a much lower number inevitably could build a new habit that will be hard to break out of. All of us want to think that, well, this high inflationary time is just seasonal, right? Things will go back to where they were. Well, in order for inflation to go away, it doesn't mean that prices need to come back down and grocery bills will come back down, right? It actually means prices won't continue to accelerate at the same level. They won't continue to increase at the same level. Not that they'll go back down. And therefore, if you reduce your 403B savings from contribution from 15% down to, say, 6%, what's it going to take to bring it back up to 15%? It's going to be very, very unlikely. So therefore, the final concern is a new habit will be built, and potentially that habit could be, well, the next financial challenge, reduce it even more, and all of a sudden you wind up in a pretty difficult spot. So my final recommendation to him and to you is, listen, let's hold off making any really quick, rash decisions. Let's sit down during our next financial planning meeting and discuss, well, what are all of the possible options to come up with the shortfall, okay? Not to deny that, oh no, you've got to go rice and beans, or you've got to, say no to a whole bunch of stuff, but let's explore all of the options and see if, of the range of options, which one is the best one that brings the most harmony to your overall financial life in all 6 areas of your financial life. Inflation, guys, it is a killer. It's impacting all of us, and it's squeezing a lot of our finances, where if you've been able to maintain or just manage over these past 18 months or so, the fact that prices haven't come back down is leaving many people to finally face some tough choices. Make that tough choice with your certified financial planner. Someone who's a fiduciary, who's looking at all 6 areas of your financial life, can help you navigate those options and select the best one for you. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.